Mike's Daily Podcast.
Thank you for listening to this show. Today we are broadcasting from Podcastro Valentino today, and it's nice and sunny, so I'm going to be happy.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I'm going to be bright and positive, because there's too many negative things in this world, like Christina Hendricks and that other guy who's married to that girl, Colin Firth. They're getting separated. They weren't married to each other, Christina Hendricks and Colin Firth, but I know a lot of women that are elated that Colin Firth is single now.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And guys that were watching Mad Men and saw Christina Hendricks. She was married to that guy
Mike's
from
Daily
Garden State
Podcast.
No, not Zach Bratt.
Yeah!
That guy who was in... he shows up in this hardware store scene in Garden State, and he's so funny in it. And then I don't know what else he did. Oh, he was in that awful 500 Days of Summer. I think he was in that. And I only say it's awful because it has an awful ending where Zooey Deschanel just basically takes Jason Gordon-Levitt, just takes his heart and stomps on it, squishes it. And then he ends up with a girl named Winter at the end. No, wait. Yeah, 500 Days of Summer. So now, because Zooey Deschanel's name is Summer, and in the end, he meets, what's her face? Oh, she was popular for a hot minute. And then, so he ends up with her, and it's a happy ending, but everybody's happy. The only thing I liked about that movie, too, was the fact that they talk about how the architecture in Los Angeles is pretty cool. It was sort of an homage to it, and it also had a little thing where they did the Hall & Oates. They did dancing. The Hall & Oates little thing they did.
And here's today's podcast picture.
What I got did it get patrol to Brennan and that whole song. Light meets a flame. Minka Kelly. Gosh, it took me forever to find that name. Minka Kelly. Do you remember Minka Kelly? Okay, then maybe not. She has vanished into history, much like the Peloton gal will at some point. Hey, look who's in the podcast picture today. Hi, Mark. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How's y'all doing? I'm good, Benita. Do you know who Minka Kelly is? No, I don't. Is she popular? She was in the reboot of Charlie's Angels, which lasted 8 episodes. I had no idea it bombed that bad. Now they're making the movie. Now there's a movie, another movie. Ugh. This Basil the Boxer, who's also in the podcast picture today. Yeah, I think they're making a movie of it. Yeah, 2019. Or it came out already. What, Basil? Elizabeth Banks is in it? Okay. Thanks for... Kristen Stewart? Okay. Kristen Stewart's in it. Naomi Scott. Who was talking about Charlie's Angels? Oh! Okay. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. So there's this guy who does a radio show. I'm going to give him a plug because he friended me on Facebook. His name's Keith Koo. Shout out to Keith Koo. He does a radio show in the Bay Area on 860 AM The Answer. Shout out to him. It's called Silicon Valley Insider. I should know the name of his show since I'm the operations manager for the radio stations that are involved in this whole Salem, San Francisco thing. But find out more about that if you are interested at my Facebook, facebook.com/Mike Talks. But anyway, Keith was talking about, I'm pretty sure it was him. Nope, now I'm pretty sure it's not him. Okay, it was somebody else. Keith lost his father this year, I'm sad to say, and condolences to him. And I lost my dad long time ago. It was early 2000s. And my father and I had a lot of fun discussions about the entertainment industry. A lot of stories I've imparted to you on this podcast. But somebody, and at some point it'll come back to me, went to see the last movie they saw with their father was Charlie's Angels, the second one. And how he was not a fan of that movie, and that this person who was pretty sad that they went to see such a terrible movie. Maybe you like Charlie's Angels too, but it was not the best movie to see, the last movie with your dad. But that happens, right? That happens. It's not always we don't always end on the up best movie. My father probably did not see a good movie. The last movie that he actually saw, I don't know what it was, to tell you the truth. I do know one of his favorite movies was Fargo. And he was kind of a Coen Brothers fan. My dad would be in his 90s now, actually, now that I think about it. Okay. All that to say that there was this episode is episode 1955, 1955, which I am now into the 50s as I'm watching the Oliver Stone revisionist history documentary that was made in 2015. He did a series of looking back on history. And some of it, you have to, like I've said, you have to take it with a grain of salt, because some of the stuff he says, it's a little too, and this is maybe just how I was raised, but it's a little too pro-Soviet Union, some of his stuff. A little too pro-communist, surprise, surprise, for Oliver Stone. But yeah, his whole reasoning is that at the end of World War II, first off, we couldn't have won World War II without Russia. That's his first premise. The second premise is that Stalin had made a pact with FDR and Winston Churchill. And then when FDR passed away and it was left to Harry Truman, who Oliver Stone goes on and on about how Harry Truman should not have been our president and it should have been Henry Wallace. But Stalin made a deal with Harry Truman and that and Winston Churchill, and that basically Harry Truman and Winston Churchill went off the rails. And that the whole reason for the Cold War was because America got too greedy. America was, and this I can't digest what Oliver Stone says about how Harry Truman monopolized the atomic bomb. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. He kept it all to himself, the atomic bomb. And then he also goes on to say that the guy that was the head general that helped with the whole the testing of the bomb. As I lose my voice, my voice went through a bomb just then. That he was very anti, whoever that general was, I can't remember his name. But he apparently was very anti-Russia. So Oliver Stone basically saying that we helped cause the Cold War. We were the ones. It wasn't Russia. And that Oppenheimer himself, who was the mastermind behind the atomic bomb, said that at some point the oh, hang on.
Later that day.
Oh, he just had a phone call from someone, and I had to answer it. And, oh, they're still on the line. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, Mike. How are you?
Good. Thank you for listening to the podcast.
It's great to be here, Mike. I want to be your first person ever on your podcast today, Mike Matthews.
Thank you. You are the first person today on today's podcast. And you can always call me and leave a message at 336MM Daily. That's 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews, Daily as in what this podcast is. So you can do that, caller.
Why should I do that when I'm talking to you right now?
Well, I'm just saying, in the future, you can call me back and do that.
Okay, Mike, that's what I'll do. I'll call you back in the future because you told me to.
No. Do whatever you want. It's your life. You can make your own choices, but this is something you can do in the future, is leave a message for me at the Cafe Anyway line, which we're outside of Cafe Anyway somewhere in Podcastro Valley today, the last place on earth.
Thanks, Mike. I'm going to do that. I want to call you in the future because you told me to.
No! I said...
Mika Kelly was a great person. Goodbye.
Where'd you go? Huh? Hello? Are you there? No? Okay, they're gone. I usually have a dial tone sound, but I don't. How come this doesn't work?
Yeah.
Huh.
You ready, Mike?
They don't have that hooked up to anything outside a cafe anyway. We're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. All right, well, at any rate, the thing is...
What was that all about?
We had a rocky road as a nation, and here we are. I guess Oliver Stone is trying to bring to light some things and an opinion and a point of view that you may not get in school. Your kids may not get in school. Perhaps you did not get at school. And that's fine. But whenever I watch any of his documentaries, I start to really go, I can see a different side to that, Oliver. Which, by the way, I wanted to be called Oliver. My mom was going to call me Oliver, and it didn't happen. Rats. So there's this that was Netflix, this documentary. But the guy that helped start Netflix, I forget his name, but it had something to do with Scotts Valley, on your way to Santa Cruz from the Bay Area. He apparently mailed a Patsy Cline Greatest Hits to himself in the mail to see if the CD would get damaged, and it didn't. And so he said, hey, a DVD is like a CD. I'm going to mail these out to people, and it'll be like Blockbuster. I'll beat Blockbuster. And he did. He beat Blockbuster. And Blockbuster beat my mom, actually. My mom was a video store owner, and she basically went out of business because of Blockbuster, which she would have gone out of business because of Netflix eventually. At any rate, the guy who started Netflix said, beware of epiphanies. He says, I've actually been shafted by some. Be aware of epiphanies. Actually, now that I think about it, getting married for me was the result of an epiphany. In the middle of the night, I said, I should get married. And I was dating this person, and I was like, I'm going to get married to this person because of this, this, and this. And I think deep down, though, it probably was more along the lines of, hey, I'm in my 30s, I need to get married. Which I don't know. I mean, that's just one way of looking back on it. It's been a while and a long time from the moment where I decided it was time to get married. I know there was a lot of other stuff going on, and we were ever heading that direction. So was getting married a good idea? In the end, there were some good memories that came from it. Would I do it again? I don't know at this point. No, I don't think so. The person I married is now happily married to someone else. I'm happily involved with a wonderful, lovely lady friend. So, going back in time, who knows, right? What if? And that's basically what Oliver Stone asks, is what if? Wait, let me just say, definitively, I would have married the lovely lady friend that I was with. Had I met her years ago, I would have married her. Full stop. Okay, now we got that out of the way. And now, so Oliver Stone asked these questions. We probably would not have had a Cold War if because of Russia, because of what Russia did, or what we did towards Russia, that we tore apart a lot of our plans with them that had originally been made. But I don't know. I think Oliver is very big into conspiracy theories, and some of it you just, like I say, take with a grain of salt. All right, back to one other thing, and that is you can read some of my early posts from 10 years ago at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Another exciting thing about MikesDailyPodcast.com, along with where you can listen to all the past shows. And in this one from 10 years ago, I ranted about how there were so many movies that had to do with CGI. Oh, and I really didn't like the movie Adventureland for some reason. The one with, the guy, Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart, back to her again. And it was supposed to be this big 80s movie. And as someone that really loves 80s or knows 80s music for sure, I was like, they only have one 80s song in here from Expose. Oh, and The Cure. There were more songs than that. The sad reality, though, is it is very expensive to put music in your movie. You have to pay a lot, so maybe that was the cause of it. And they also had Lou Reed's Satellite of Love, which was actually from the 70s, I pointed out. Oh, and here, speaking of 500 Days of Summer, I said for a much better movie, because I guess that came out 10 years ago, that makes use of real 80s songs, even though it takes place in the modern day, see 500 Days of Summer. That movie drags a little, but at least its approach is fresh, I said about that movie. So I guess I did like it. I also like Julie and Julia. That came out around that time 10 years ago. The late, great Nora Ephron. Oh, and we lost Danny Aiello. I mentioned on the air tomorrow on the radio show that I do on KKDV, which I'm on 6 to noon on Sunday mornings. You can check it out at their website, kkdv.com. But I mentioned that Papa Don't Preach video had, of course, Madonna in it, but her dad, Papa, is Danny Aiello, and he just passed away, sadly. But I talked a lot about New York because I got to go to New York about 10 years ago, and I was about to leave Alabama, which Alabama has come back to me in a big, big way this year, where I've had big septic tank issues with a particular property that I may or may not own out there. So that still hasn't been resolved. But one thing I said I loved about the South, and I was about to leave the South for the Bay Area, but I said the hospitality, the countryside is so beautiful in the South, and the barbecue. And the birds. There were so many birds. Like you hear the birds here outside a cafe anyway. But the birds were just amazing in the South. But there wasn't really... I didn't like the choice of restaurants. But see, back then I was going out a lot. And now I cook mostly at home. And I think you should... And that's my tip for you today is don't eat out so much. Go get some groceries. I know you don't want to go to the supermarket because it's so busy and crazy. And the thought of going to Costco right now just, it makes me shudder. I don't want to do that. But I gotta. Because I like to cook at home. It's not that difficult to cook. You just need, of course, an oven, a stove, possibly a microwave, and you're in business. And then you can make something that's less fattening, because when you eat out, there's all that fat that gets put in there. They put extra butter, heavy cream, whatever, sugar, whatever, to make it taste good. Because the food server always asks you, how's everything tasting? And that's why they want it to taste really good, so you'll come back again and again. So that's why I say to you, eat at home as much as you can. Cook a lot, save it for leftovers as much as you can. Fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. If you can't buy fresh vegetables or fruits, buy them frozen, because they're frozen at the peak of deliciousness and goodness for you. And the frozen stuff, I'm not talking about the stuff that they add, like, I don't know, what do they, not like the frozen meals. That's got salt in it and stuff not good for you. I'm talking about like a bag of frozen strawberries or frozen cauliflower, frozen broccoli, whatever. That's good for you. Go for that, as I say to you with my double chin. You know, I really got to experience my double chin recently when my lovely lady friend took some video of me. And now it's so easy to take really good video. That was my big question. Oh, I haven't asked this question yet, but it's so easy to video yourself these days. And when I was young, you couldn't really video. You could video yourself if you had someone who had a big camera with the big videotape you stick in there, and it was annoying to try and transfer that to another videotape and just to show people. Now it's so easy. You pop your phone out and you can show someone a video and take video of yourself like now. You probably do it now. And you can see how you are and how you act in real time and real video and on the boots on the ground, all those other expressions I hate. You get to see it. And kids grow up with that. They know exactly how they act on video. in how they're acting in the real world. You didn't know that growing up. If you were a Gen Xer, you didn't know, or before, baby boomers, greatest generation, and all the rest. You didn't know. How do I, unless somebody actually filmed you, if you were lucky to be a movie star or unlucky, depending on how you look at fame. But yes, that was, you saw your mannerisms. You saw how you actually act. And even though I've been in radio since the 80s, and I knew how I sounded, but how I actually acted and looked and talked, that's a whole other thing. And to see that, and some people can't look at it. They can't see it, even though it's so readily available to you. Some people don't want to know how they sound. Some people don't want to see how they look when they are who they are. And to me, it's just fascinating because I get all involved looking at my double chin. Forget about the bald head, but it's the double chin that I find fascinating. I want to name it like Baby Yoda. I want to be, hey, Baby Yoda, second chin. You're the best. You're awesome. Oh, by the way, so I guess I won't make that connection. We'll go back to that later. At any rate, you should go out and see a beautiful fall tree today. A tree, not that's felled or fallen, but a tree with its beautiful fall colors. Go look at that today, because that's a good thing, and that will uplift you. Hey, look who just walked in outside a cafe anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, 10, the last place on earth. Let's say hi to them.
Hi, Mark. It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player. Tell you what.
What?
I guess y'all have my lovely wife in your podcast picture today with your dog.
Yeah, Basil the Boxer and Benita are in the picture. They look great, and she doesn't know who Minka Kelly is.
Minka who? Is that girl that used to be on Fox, but then Trump got mad at her?
No, that's that other Kelly person. I can't think of... Yeah, it's someone. Anyway, who else is here? Oh, look who's pouring us a root beer.
Oh, Mike, I make the delicious root beer. Have some right now, I'll tell you.
Thank you, Brewmaster.
Why is Jay Leno so angry towards Asian people? Oh, boy!
Yes, I guess Jay Leno, some big group that is representative of the Asian American community said no more to Jay Leno because he made a joke recently about eating dogs or something like that. Korea? Had anything to do with Korea? I don't know. So that's just, I don't get that. I know people that make jokes about that, and it's just, come on. Old jokes ain't funny. Oh no, Mike, they are. They're real funny. No, they're not. Jokes like that have been beaten like a horse. Oh, what's all with this animal beating and killing and stuff? No. Animals, let's get rid of that expression, beating a dead horse. That's not good. Because horses are beautiful animals. And one almost killed my dog, actually, now that I think about it. And myself. This was a couple months back. That's what I'll remember 2019 for. That and the myriad of other things that I learned this year about smogging a car and making sure you have a septic tank that works, and that you go when you drive in the Bay Area, be careful, because people slam on their brakes for no reason and park in the middle of the road because they got to unload stuff. Everybody's getting stuff delivered. Everybody's going online and getting stuff. So that means that more cars and huge white vans can just stop right in front of you for no reason and block traffic. The Bay Area. Shall we leave it there? I think we will. Okay, very good. What do you think about all that? You can call me 336MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast is. And somebody talked to me recently, said they want to be a guest on the show. If you would like to be a guest on the show, please give me a call, 336MM Daily, and leave a message at the Cafe Anyway line. We would love to hear from you, because perhaps we could have you on. That's good. Does that work for you? Okay. And more stuff about the website, Ariel's going to tell you. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Thanks for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!